Hi, my name is Gary Guth, and I'm a bagpipe teacher. The tune that I was playing just now is a 2/4 march. It was written by Pipe Major Robertson of the Scots Guards. It's called the Scots Guards March Through Jerusalem. You know, the 2/4 march is a conundrum to a lot of bagpipers. And one of the reasons it is that it's rather intimidating because if you look at the music, you have all of these clusters of notes, and you have the dotted 16th and the 32nd, and that confuses a lot of people. And so the easy way out is not to learn any of the 2/4 marches. Well, the 2/4 competition march, the 2/4 four-part march is used in competition. Um, Personally, I think it makes bagpipe boys into bagpipe men. This is an incredible tool to use to develop your personal, your personal playing as an individual performer. So what we're going to do, I could sit here and I could play through it like this. I could say, now you try, and I could play the next part and I could say, now you try it again. But the truth of the matter is that as a bagpipe teacher, my job is to make you an accomplished player. Okay, that means that you could open up any tune in any book and pull your practice chanter out and play it. That's the goal of bagpipe lessons. The goal isn't to be a student for the rest of your life. The goal is to become an accomplished player. Okay, so what we're going to do, if attached to this video, okay, if you look down there, there's a couple places for sheets for you to print out. The first sheet I'd like you to print out is the tune. The tune is the Scots Guards March Through Jerusalem. This is a tune out of Scots Guards Book 1. If you have that book, you could certainly pull that book out and stuff. If you print it, we're going to write on the paper, so you may not want to write in your Scots Guards book, but it is in the Scots Guards book on page 33. This is a tune probably that not a lot of people play. I mean, it's one of those tunes that's, hidden in the book as a tune written by Scots Guardsmen. So we're going to use this tune to teach you how to develop a 2/4 march. Also, attached to this video is this sheet, which is a prep sheet that I've created to iron out some of the technical problems in the piece. And but the first thing that we're going to use is this sheet, the rhythm pattern sheet. I think it's important that as a bagpiper, this is a folk instrument. Folk instruments are taught by rote and by imitation and so forth. I'm a classical musician. I learned to read music and rhythm and stuff as I was learning piano and stuff. So, when I came to the bagpipes, I didn't have a problem reading the music, but I found in the last 40-some years of playing the bagpipe that a lot of bagpipers don't read rhythm at all. So this would be a good opportunity for you to develop that skill as well. Okay, so if I'll pause here for a second. If you'll print out those sheets, we'll get started. Okay, welcome back. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing I want you to look at is this rhythm patterns sheet. And if you're reading the top, there's two kinds of rhythm patterns. There's duple patterns, which are divisible by 2, and there's triple patterns, which are divisible by 3. What I do in counting rhythm is that I'll keep a beat. I'll go, here's my beat. And most bagpipe music, it goes at a walking pace. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a 1, 2, and 3, and 4, a 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. See, it goes like that. Okay, so that's our pace. That's how we're going to go. Now, if you're looking at this sheet, the first group of patterns, all the way to the big double bar on line 4, those are all the duple patterns, and the end of line 4, 5, and 6 are the triple patterns. So just to go through it um, as a review, just keep your eye on that, and I'm going to show you how to count them. Okay, so here's my beat. Ready, set, go. 1, 1, 4, 1, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Now, if you noticed, you have verbal inflections within the rhythm to make the patterns work for you. You know, you can't say 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E, 2 E, 3. I mean, it has to have a certain inflection. 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. See, that way, you know, when you're performing these patterns, you know, you're always performing in the same way. Okay, so practice that. You know, I'll pause here for a second. Practice going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and instead practice saying the patterns. I also have a video that I'll make available to you if you're interested. That's all about rhythm and meter, so we can go into more depth. Anyway, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the tune. So you take the tune right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to look for the patterns in the tune, the rhythm patterns in the tune. You know, the thing that intimidates people about the 2/4 march, the 2/4 competition march in particular, is the rhythm. You know, the rhythm because it looks too complex. Okay, well the if you notice the rhythm syllables that I have, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, those are 16th notes, okay? And I don't have any syllables for 32nd notes. So if you remember your fractions in school, 2/4 equals 4/8, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Scots Guards March through Jerusalem, and we're going to divide it out in 4/8 time. That way we get syllables for all of the melody notes. Okay, so when we define the rhythm on a 2/4 march, we're defining the rhythm on the melody notes only. Okay, you know, think about the melody notes are like vowel sounds in speech. Okay, the grace notes and the doublings and stuff, those are the consonants. Okay, and it's only the vowel sounds that we put any duration on when we speak or when we sing and so forth. Okay, so let's take it from the top. Now, if you in the first measure, we only have 2 notes, okay, and what we have is a dotted 16th and a 32nd, okay. That, if you add all of that up, that's equal to an 8th note, okay. If you take see the dotted eighth would be 24 32nds, and then I had the final 32nd note there would be equal to 8. Okay, so we're going to divide that all the way down by 4. So that would be beat 4. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to find all of the 8th notes in the measure. Okay, so the G grace note on the low A is beat 4. So we're only going to put a number 4 underneath that. The beginning of any barred unit has a number before it, not a syllable, and it has a number. Okay, so you're never going to have and 3, or you're never going to have the and of 3 or and of 2 combined to be 3. It doesn't work that way. It's always the number first. We're looking at it. We're looking at in the very first measure. That's a pickup beat, because not all songs, not all tunes start on the first beat. Okay, so that's beat 4, and then the F doubling. The F is beat 1. Okay, but we're counting in eighth note time, so that's equal to 2 beats. So that's 1-2. Okay, and then the G grace note on the E would be 3. Okay, the next eighth note would be on the F, going to the high A. That's beat 4. And then in the next measure, the low A is 1. The F in that string is 2. And then I've got the F half doubling. That's 3-4. Again, that's that quarter note is equal to 2 eighth notes. Okay, and then I have in the next measure on the high G, I have 1-2, and the E is the and of 2. Then I have 3 on the C doubling, 4 on the E. I have 1 on the A in the next measure, 2 on the E, 3 on the F, and 4 on the low A. In the next measure on the F doubling, I have 1-2, and then I have 3 on the E and 4 on the F. So if you can see what I did, can you see that? Okay, that's what yours should look like right now. Okay, now, so once you've defined where the eighth notes are in the bar, then you come back to the rhythm pattern sheet. And this is we're in a duple time, and most of what we're going to be using are going to be the 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, or the 1, a 2, a 3, a 4 patterns. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to identify. We're looking at duplets. Okay, so we're identifying the duplets. We're going 1, a 2, or 1E, 2E, 3, and so forth. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. Beat 4, the dot is on the first note, so that's 4. Okay, and then I got 1-2, and then beat 3, the dot is on the first note, so that would be a 3. And then the dot, well, there's a typo on beat 4. The flag and the dot are on the same note on the high A. That's a misprint. The flag should be on the F. So that would be, this is a 4E, because the dot is in the second position. Okay, so, and then I have in the next measure 1, the dot's in the first position, so that would be 1. In the beat 2, the dot is in the second position, so that's 2E. Okay, then I got 3-4, 1, and 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, the fourth measure over on the low A to the C. That would be a 1, and then another 2E. 3, 4, 1-2, and then the very last pattern on that top line would be 3, 4E. Okay, now what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to stop this video, okay, and I'd like you to take a few minutes and complete this. Okay, it might take you more than a few minutes. Use the rhythm pattern sheet. And I can tell you right now that the majority of the patterns are going to be 1, a 2E, 3, a 4E. I mean, that kind of stuff. I'll tell you in advance, okay? But I'd really like you to take a look at that and so forth. If in the meantime you'd like to fax, you want to fax your sheet to me so I can look at it. you could certainly do that. If you'd like to send me an email with an attachment, I'll be happy to look at it and so forth. Okay, but and give you some feedback. All right, but we don't want to take a whole video to do the whole tune because there's a lot of repetition in this tune. Okay, next we're going to show you what to do with that. Okay, goodbye.